Remove this filthy pest from my office. Sheikh Rashid Al Mansour towers over 13-year-old Sophia Martinez as she quietly empties his designer wastebasket. Her small brown hands grip the plastic liner, moving with practiced silence, trying to be invisible in a world that wants her that way. He kicks the trash bin with his $3,000 Italian leather shoe, sending papers flying across the polished marble floor of Titanium Capital's executive suite. Disgusting little roach, he mutters in Arabic to his financial advisor. The maid's stupid daughter probably can't even count to 10. His advisor laughs, responding in rapid Gulf Arabic. These ignorant Americans will steal their $500 million while this trash empties our garbage. Rashid adjusts his diamond-encrusted Rolex, deliberately stepping on the document Sophia just collected. In exactly 2 hours, we'll sign the contracts that transfer everything to our Dubai accounts. By the time these American fools realize what happened, the money will be untouchable, protected by international banking laws they're too stupid to understand. He grinds his heel into a photograph of Sophia's mother accepting an Employee Appreciation Award. But here's what he doesn't know. This filthy pest, kneeling on his floor, understands every single word, every insult, every detail of his financial fraud. And in exactly 117 minutes, she'll use that knowledge to destroy his entire criminal empire before the ink dries. The housekeeping supply closet smells like bleach and desperation. Sophia sits on a bucket of industrial cleaner, watching her mother, Rosa Martinez, organize towels with movements that speak of exhaustion beyond sleep. At 42, Rosa's hands are calloused, her back permanently bent from 17 years of scrubbing toilets in buildings where people spend more on lunch than she makes in a week. "Mommy," Sophia whispers in Spanish, glancing at the door. "That man today, the sheik, he said terrible things in Arabic." Rosa doesn't look up from folding, her fingers moving automatically. "Mija, you know better than to listen to these rich people's conversations. We keep our heads down, we stay invisible, we survive. That's how it works for people like us. He called you stupid, called me a roach, said Americans are too ignorant to stop him." The towel slips from Rosa's weathered hands. "But Mommy, that's not the worst part." Sophia's voice trembles. "He said in 2 hours he's signing papers that will steal $500 million from the investment fund. He said by the time anyone realizes, the money will be in Dubai where nobody can touch it." Rosa sinks onto an overturned crate, her whole body shaking. "Sophia, what are you talking about? You don't even speak Arabic. Where would you learn?" "I taught myself, Mommy. 3 years ago, when the Al-Saud family moved into Building C and their kids couldn't talk to anyone at school. The words tumble out. I started with YouTube videos. Then I found Arabic professors streaming lectures from universities in Cairo and Beirut. Mrs. Aisha from 4D teaches me Gulf dialect. I help translate at the refugee center every Saturday." Rosa stares at her daughter like seeing a stranger. "You can really speak Arabic? Arabic, Spanish, English, French, and I'm working on Farsi." Sophia pulls out her cracked phone, the one she bought with money from tutoring, and opens a language app showing thousands of hours of completed lessons. "See? And Mommy, I know what he said isn't just words. The $500 million? That's the Riverside Development Fund." Rosa's face goes pale. "The affordable housing project?" "Yes, the one that's supposed to build 200 apartments for families like ours. Families like the Johnsons, the Nguyen's, the Rodriguez's, people who've been on waiting lists for years." Sophia's eyes fill with tears. "Mrs. Johnson has 3 kids sleeping in one room. Mr. Nguyen's been working 2 jobs so his daughter can have her own bed someday. If Sheikh Rashid steals that money, those families lose everything." Rosa's hands shake as she grips her daughter's shoulders. "Mija, speaking up could cost me this job. We barely make rent as it is. Your asthma medicine costs $300 a month. We can't afford." "I know, Mommy." Sophia wipes her tears with the back of her hand. "But if we stay silent, 200 families never get homes. Kids keep sleeping on couches and floors. Dreams keep dying. And that man gets to call us roaches while he steals from the poorest people in the city." The fluorescent light flickers overhead, casting shadows that make the closet feel even smaller. "Mommy, you always taught me that God gave us voices for a reason. That staying silent in the face of wrong makes us part of the wrong." Rosa closes her eyes, a single tear running down her cheek. What exactly did he say, Mija? Tell me everything. The penthouse level feels like another universe. Sophia trails behind her mother, her second-hand sneakers squeaking against marble floors so polished she can see her reflection. A small brown girl who doesn't belong in a place where the artwork costs more than her entire neighborhood. Security guard Marcus Washington steps in front of them, his hand hovering near his radio. Mrs. Martinez, you know you can't bring your kid up here outside of approved hours. Mr. Blackwood has strict policies about. Marcus, please. Rosa's voice cracks. My daughter heard something. Something important about Mr. Blackwood's investment deal. Something dangerous. Marcus's eyebrows rise as he looks at Sophia, who clutches her school backpack like armor. No disrespect, Mrs. Martinez, but you're asking me to interrupt the CEO because your daughter overheard something? Do you know what that sounds like? I know exactly what it sounds like, Rosa says quietly. I know what we look like to you, to everyone in this building. But please, Marcus, just 5 minutes. A door opens. Jonathan Blackwood stands there. 58 silver temples, suit that probably costs more than Rosa makes in 3 months. But his eyes aren't cruel. They're tired, worried. And when he sees Rosa's expression, they soften with concern. Mrs. Martinez, is everything all right? His gaze shifts to Sophia. And who's this? My daughter, Sophia. Mr. Blackwood. Sir, I'm so sorry to bother you, but she says she heard something about the investment signing today. About the $500 million Riverside Development Fund. Blackwood's expression sharpens instantly. Your daughter. Come in, both of you. The office smells like expensive coffee and leather. Sophia perches on the edge of a chair designed by someone famous, her feet dangling above a rug that probably has its own insurance policy. Through floor-to-ceiling windows, the city sprawls below, including the neighborhood where families wait for homes that might never come. All right? Blackwood settles behind his desk. What's this about, sweetheart? Sophia's voice comes out barely above a whisper. The man with all the gold rings, Sheikh Rashid, he spoke in Arabic to his advisor. He said things he thought nobody could understand. Blackwood leans forward, his tone gentle but skeptical. Sophia, Arabic is a very complex language. Sometimes when we hear foreign words, we might misunderstand.
قال إنك أحمق أمريكي سهل الخداع.
The Arabic flows from Sophia's lips with perfect Gulf pronunciation. He said you're a foolish American who's easy to deceive. He said the contracts you're signing in. She glances at the wall clock. In 107 minutes contain hidden Arabic clauses that will transfer the entire $500 million to offshore accounts in Dubai. Blackwood's coffee cup freezes halfway to his mouth. He said, Sophia switches back to English, her voice growing stronger, that by the time you discover the theft, the money will be protected by international banking laws and Sharia financial regulations that American courts can't touch. He said you'll spend years in litigation and never recover a single dollar. Blackwood sets down his cup with shaking hands, coffee sloshing over the rim. Where did a 13-year-old learn Gulf Arabic? Online mostly. MIT OpenCourseWare has Arabic language programs. I watch lectures from professors at American University in Cairo. Mrs. Aisha at the Refugee Center teaches me dialect. Sophia pulls out her phone. Want me to show you? She opens Al Jazeera's Arabic news feed and plays a clip. As rapid Arabic fills the office, discussing complex Middle Eastern banking regulations, Sophia translates simultaneously, her words matching the scrolling English subtitles perfectly. The banking minister announces new regulations allowing Gulf Cooperation Council members to shield investment funds through dual-language contracts. Critics argue these regulations exploit Western investors' limited Arabic comprehension, particularly in financial law terminology. Blackwood stares at this girl in a faded school uniform who just translated graduate-level financial news without missing a beat. Sophia. His voice is barely audible. What exactly did Sheikh Rashid say about the signing today? Sophia slides off the massive chair and approaches Blackwood's desk with careful steps, like someone walking on ice that might crack. Her small hands rest on the polished mahogany. Mr. Blackwood, can I see the investment contracts? The ones you're signing in? She checks the clock again. 103 minutes. With trembling fingers, Blackwood pulls out a leather portfolio containing hundreds of pages. The contracts are dense, English and Arabic sections describing the $500 million investment in the Riverside Development Fund, meant to build affordable housing for 200 families. Sophia's eyes scan the Arabic sections with intense focus, her young face showing concentration that belongs on someone decades older. Right here, she points to a paragraph that looks straightforward in English, something about partnership investment structures and fund allocation timelines. This phrase in Arabic, your translator probably told you it means investment partnership structure. Correct. She flips to another section. See this timeline? The English says, fund distribution begins after 90-day due diligence period. But the Arabic uses a different calendar system. They're referencing Hijri months, Islamic lunar calendar months, not Gregorian months. A Hijri month is only 29 or 30 days. So what you think is a 90-day period is actually more like 87 days. They've calibrated the entire timeline so your temporary administrator status expires exactly 3 days before their permanent fund manager clause activates.
Jesus Christ, Blackwood Breates.
And here, Sophia's hands move faster now, her confidence building. This clause about dispute resolution through international arbitration. The English version says neutral third-party arbitration. But look at the Arabic text. It specifies Dubai International Financial Center courts, operating under UAE civil law and Sharia financial principles. She pulls up her phone, navigating to a UAE government website. According to DIFC regulations, once a fund touches their jurisdiction, they can freeze assets pending review. And under Article 7 of their investment protection statutes, that review process can take between 18 months and 3 years. Your $500 million will sit in Dubai, untouchable, while Sheikh Rashid's lawyers drain it with administrative fees. Blackwood grips the edge of his desk. How do you know all this? Because, Mr. Blackwood, I don't just learn languages. I learn why they matter. Sophia opens her phone's notes app, showing pages of research. 3 months ago, I read about a British development fund that lost $200 million to a similar scheme in Abu Dhabi. They used the exact same contract structure, dual language agreements exploiting calendar differences and jurisdictional triggers. She shows him another article. 2 months ago, a Canadian housing project lost $150 million the same way. And last month, I saw Sheikh Rashid touring this building, and I thought, he's going to try it here. Rosa speaks for the first time, her voice breaking with pride and fear. She's been staying up until 2 a.m. every night for 3 months, reading Arabic financial law, studying international banking regulations, learning everything she could about these schemes. I thought she was just doing homework. Blackwood stares at Sophia, this 13-year-old girl in a school uniform held together with safety pins and determination, who just exposed a fraud that would have destroyed 200 families' dreams and possibly ended his career. Sophia, how old did you say you are? 13, sir. But my mama says wisdom doesn't come with age. It comes from paying attention when people think you're not listening. Emergency meeting, Titanium Capital's main conference room. Blackwood stands at the head of the table, Sophia sitting small and quiet in an oversized leather chair beside him. His senior executives fill the room, people whose annual bonuses exceed what Rosa will make in her lifetime. Let me understand this correctly. CFO Patricia Harrington adjusts her Cartier glasses, her voice sharp as broken glass. You've called an emergency meeting 1 hour before the biggest signing in company history because a cleaning lady's daughter, a child, claims she overheard something? Patricia, if you would just listen to what Sophia Disco. Listen to what, Jonathan? Chief Legal Counsel Marcus Steele interrupts, his Yale law degree practically radiating superiority. Are we seriously taking financial advice from a 13-year-old who probably can't even spell investment? This is absurd. She speaks fluent Arabic. She understood their entire conversation. Oh, please. VP of International Development, Catherine Chun, leans back with a dismissive laugh. These kids watch Disney's Aladdin twice and think they speak Arabic. Jonathan, we have professional translators who vetted every clause. We have 3 attorneys who specialize in Middle Eastern finance law. Are you suggesting we trust a child over Harvard and Oxford graduates? I'm suggesting we listen to someone who might have information we need. Steele snorts loudly. Information? Jonathan, she's 13 years old. She should be in school taking selfies or whatever kids do, not in a boardroom making up conspiracy theories about international bankers. Maybe she misunderstood what she heard. Harrington adds with fake sympathy. Children have active imaginations. They hear adults talking and fill in gaps with fantasies. This is what happens when staff bring their children to work environments. Rosa shifts uncomfortably by the door, wanting to grab Sophia and run from this room full of people who look at them like insects. Furthermore, Harrington continues, her voice rising with indignation, even if this girl did hear something, which I highly doubt, we have a $500 million deal that closes in. She checks her $50,000 watch. 58 minutes. We have investors waiting, contracts finalized, wire transfers prepared. You want to blow up the entire deal because the maid's daughter told you a scary story? That's not what. What's next, Jonathan? Steele laughs cruelly. Are we going to consult the janitor about our merger strategy? Ask the cafeteria workers to review our securities filings? Maybe we should let the parking attendants sit in on board meetings. The room erupts in laughter. Sophia's small hands clench in her lap, but she stays silent, exactly as her mother taught her. Be invisible, stay quiet, don't make waves. This little girl, Harrington's voice drips with venom, needs to be at home or in school, not wasting the time of executives who actually understand international finance. No offense, dear. She glances at Sophia with a smile that isn't kind. But adults are talking about very complicated things that take years of education to understand. Years of education, Chun adds, from the best universities in the world. Not YouTube videos and Google Translate. Sophia finally speaks, her voice barely above a whisper. May I ask Mr. Steele something? The executives exchange glances. Harrington rolls her eyes dramatically. Go ahead, honey, Blackwood says gently. Sophia looks directly at Steele. You said you have 3 attorneys who specialize in Middle Eastern finance law. Did any of them actually study at universities in the Middle East? Or did they just take Arabic classes at American law schools? Steele's face reddens. That's irrelevant. They're trained professionals because American law schools teach modern standard Arabic, the kind used in literature and news broadcasts. But Gulf financial contracts use Khaliji dialect mixed with classical Islamic legal terminology. It's like the difference between Shakespeare's English and modern legal contracts. Similar enough to fool someone who learned Arabic in America, but different enough to hide clauses that mean something completely different. The room goes quiet. Also, Ms. Harrington, you said I probably can't spell investment. Sophia's voice grows steadier. But in Arabic, it's which literally translates to making something fruitful. And in Islamic banking law, that word has 3 different legal definitions depending on whether you're using Sunni, Shia, or UAE secular financial frameworks. Harrington's mouth opens and closes like a fish. And Mr. Steele, you mentioned Harvard and Oxford graduates. Did you know that neither Harvard nor Oxford offers specialization in DIFC, Dubai International Financial Center, legal frameworks? Because DIFC court system was only established in 2004 and operates under a hybrid legal system that most Western lawyers never study. Chun stares at Sophia like she's seeing a ghost. Now, Sophia pulls out her phone. Shall we test whether I actually understand what I heard? Or would you prefer to keep assuming children who look like me are too stupid to matter? The executives shift uncomfortably in their expensive suits, suddenly very interested in their leather portfolios. Blackwood kneels beside Sophia's chair, speaking quietly so only she and Rosa can hear. Sophia, I need you to be my secret weapon today. Can you handle that? Sophia nods, clutching her backpack. Through the conference room's glass walls, she can see Sheikh Rashid pacing while speaking rapidly into his phone. In Arabic, of course. Here's what we're going to do, Blackwood explains. When they arrive for the signing, I'll say your mother needs to clean the conference room. You'll sit quietly in the corner with your schoolwork. To them, you're just a child doing homework while her mother works. Can you pretend to be invisible? I've been invisible my whole life, Mr. Blackwood. I'm very good at it. Something in Blackwood's chest cracks at those words. But you won't actually be invisible. You'll be listening to everything they say in Arabic. When you hear something important, use this. He hands her a wireless earbud. You'll be connected to my phone. Just whisper what you hear, and I'll get the information. Sophia shakes her head. That won't work, Mr. Blackwood. If I'm whispering, they might notice. And besides, you need to respond in real time during negotiations. Then what do you suggest? Sophia opens her math homework and pulls out a yellow highlighter. I'll sit by the window doing schoolwork. When they say something false, I'll highlight in yellow. When they reveal something important, I'll highlight in pink. And when they mention specific numbers or dates, I'll write them in the margins of my homework. That's actually brilliant, Blackwood breathes. Also, Sophia continues, I'll position my homework so you can see it from your seat at the table. Every time you look at me, you'll be able to read what I've written. To everyone else, it'll just look like you're distracted by a kid in the room. 45 minutes later, the conference room transforms into a stage. Rashid enters with his team, 3 advisors, 2 attorneys, all speaking rapid Arabic, laughing about something. Sophia sits cross-legged on the floor near the window, her homework spread around her, pink and yellow highlighters within reach. To the Arabic speakers, she's furniture, the maid's daughter, insignificant, invisible. Jonathan. Rashid's English is perfect, his smile dazzling. My friend, are you ready to change the future of affordable housing in the city? Absolutely, Rashid. Ready when you are. As they settle around the table, Rashid's advisor whispers in Arabic.
في أقل من ساعة سيكون كل شيء لنا.
How stupid these Americans are. In less than an hour, everything will be ours. Sophia's yellow highlighter sweeps across her math problem. Blackwood glances over, seeing the word confident written in her margin. Before we begin, Rashid says smoothly, I wanted to clarify a few small timeline adjustments. Nothing major, just some administrative details about fund disbursement schedules. He launches into a complex explanation, switching between English and Arabic to confuse the Americans, a technique Sophia has seen before. His English makes it sound like minor technical adjustments. But in Arabic, he's telling his team something very different.
هل يفهمون أننا نغير التقويم من ميلادي إلى هجري؟
Do they understand we're switching the calendar from Gregorian to Hijri? Pink highlighter. Sophia writes calendar switch in her margin.
لا، إنهم أغبياء جدا لملاحظة ذلك.
No, they're too stupid to notice. Yellow highlighter. Blackwood clears his throat. Rashid, about the timeline, I want to make sure I understand. You're proposing to modify the disbursement calendar from the structure we originally discussed. Rashid's smile flickers. No, same structure. Just clarifying the administration protocol. Sophia writes, lying in yellow.
هل تعتقد أنه يعرف؟
Do you think he knows? One of Rashid's advisors asks nervously.
مستحيل. لا يوجد مترجم هنا.
Impossible. There's no translator here. Because, Blackwood continues, watching Sophia write NO translator in pink, I want to make sure we're using Gregorian calendar months, not Hijri months, for all timeline calculations. The room temperature drops 10 degrees. Rashid's face twitches. Of course, Gregorian months. That's standard for international contracts. But in Arabic, he hisses to his advisor. How does he know this? Sophia's highlighters work faster now, her homework becoming a battlefield intelligence report. Rashid's lead attorney stands, placing new contract pages on the table. We've prepared updated signature pages that clarify all timing elements.
In Arabic, he whispers, هذا يحتوي على بند الحجز الذي سيغلق أموالهم.
This contains the freezing clause that will lock their funds. Pink highlighter. Sophia writes freezing clause new pages and circles it 3 times. Blackwood doesn't even pick up the papers. Actually, Rashid, before we look at any new documents, I'd like to review Section 47 of the original contract. The part about dispute resolution jurisdiction. Rashid's confident smile begins to crack like old paint. I need a brief recess, Blackwood announces. 15 minutes. Once Rashid's team leaves, Blackwood closes his office door and sits across from Sophia in the small seating area. Not behind his powerful desk, but his equals sharing space. Can I tell you something, Sophia? His voice is gentle, vulnerable. When I was your age, I was you. Sophia looks up, surprised. I grew up in a trailer park in West Virginia. My mother cleaned hotel rooms. My father worked at a coal mine until black lung destroyed his body. Blackwood's eyes grow distant. I was the first person in my family to go to college. You know what my high school guidance counselor told me? What? That kids like me don't become investment bankers. That I should aim for something realistic. Maybe community college, then a job at the bank as a teller. But you didn't listen. No. But Sophia, I was angry for years. Angry at everyone who underestimated me. Everyone who looked at my zip code and decided I was worthless. He leans forward. But then I realized something. Being underestimated can be your greatest weapon. How? Because when people expect nothing, you can surprise them. Like you did today. Blackwood's voice cracks. What happened in that conference room? Those executives dismissing you, calling you names, treating you like you were stupid. That wasn't just wrong. It was evil. They were just being honest about what they think. No, Sophia. They were being cruel. And I need you to know something. He pulls out his phone, showing her a photo of a young girl. This is my daughter, Maya. She's 12. She's smart like you, but different. She has dyslexia, so reading is hard for her. And sometimes people at school make fun of her. Call her stupid because letters get mixed up. Sophia's eyes soften. That must hurt her. It destroys her. And watching those people dismiss you today, Blackwood's voice breaks. I kept thinking, if someone treated Maya that way, I'd be heartbroken. But you sat there with grace and dignity I've never seen in adults 3 times your age. My mama taught me that people's cruelty says more about them than about me. Your mama is right. But Sophia, what you're doing today, exposing this fraud, protecting 200 families, that's not just brave. That's heroic. A soft knock. They're ready for you, Mr. Blackwood. Sophia stands, straightening her faded school uniform. Mr. Blackwood, when this is over, can I meet Maya? Maybe teach her some Arabic? The letters are completely different. Sometimes a different alphabet helps dyslexic readers. For a moment, they're just 2 people who understand what it means to be underestimated. The conference room feels colder when Rashid's team returns. The sheik carries new documents, even thicker than before, and there's something different in his eyes, something predatory. He's being careful now. Jonathan, my friend, I've brought completely revised contracts. Rashid's voice is silk over steel. Fresh translations, clearer language, absolutely no ambiguity. My legal team in Dubai worked all morning to ensure perfect clarity. He spreads the documents across the table. The Arabic sections are even more complex now. Dense classical terminology mixed with modern Gulf financial dialect, designed to confuse even expert translators. These require immediate signature. Market conditions have shifted. We have other investors interested if you're experiencing doubts. Blackwood glances at Sophia, who's coloring in the margins of her math homework, looking for all the world like a bored child waiting for her mother to finish work. To Rashid, she's invisible furniture. Of course, but I'd like our linguistic consultant to review the Arabic sections first. Your consultant? Rashid's eyebrows rise. I wasn't aware you had Arabic expertise on staff. Recent acquisition, Blackwood says smoothly.
Rashid's advisor whispers urgently, هل يجب أن نقلق بشأن هذا؟
Should we be concerned about this?
لا، مستشارهم العربي ليس هنا اليوم، ولا يمكنهم فهم اللغة القديمة التي استخدمتها.
No, their Arab consultant isn't here today, and they cannot understand the classical language I've used. Sophia's hand pauses for just a microsecond over her pink highlighter, then continues coloring as if nothing happened. These contracts, Rashid continues in English, his words sounding reasonable and professional, reflect standard international investment terms. 60-day transition period, shared oversight, proportional fund disbursement. But in Arabic, he tells his lawyer, the real text gives us complete control within 30 days. Sophia draws a flower. Inside the petals, she writes 30 days in tiny letters. Interesting timeline, Blackwood muses, studying the English version. I see 60 days mentioned here, but I'm curious about the enforcement mechanisms and penalty structures. Rashid freezes. The English version clearly states 60 days. How does Blackwood know about the 30-day Arabic clause? His eyes begin scanning the room like a predator sensing danger. They pass over the executives, the lawyers, Blackwood himself, and land on Sophia. The little girl sits quietly, coloring what appears to be a rainbow in the margins of her math homework. completely absorbed in her childish artwork. But something feels wrong to Rashid. Some instinct developed over decades of fraud screams warning. He stands and walks over to her chair. Little girl. His voice is deceptively gentle. What are you drawing? Flowers. Sophia answers without looking up, continuing to color.
ما اسمك أيتها الفتاة الصغيرة؟
What is your name, little girl? The question is a trap. If she understands, she'll react. Sophia continues coloring, showing absolutely no sign she heard anything unusual.
هل تحبين الأزهار؟
Do you like flowers? Still no reaction. Rashid relaxes slightly, just a stupid child after all. But then he notices something. Sophia's crayon paused, just for a microsecond, when he said, flowers. A tiny hesitation that might mean nothing, or might mean everything.
هل تفهمين ما أقول؟
Do you understand what I'm saying? This time, Sophia's hand definitely trembles. Just slightly, but Rashid sees it. His eyes narrow. He kneels beside her chair, his expensive cologne filling the space, his presence overwhelming.
أريدك أن تغادري هذه الغرفة على الفور.
I want you to leave this room immediately. Sophia looks up with big, innocent eyes. Mommy? She calls to Rosa. But Rashid isn't fooled. He spent 40 years reading people, detecting lies, recognizing threats. And this child, this invisible little girl, is a threat. Mr. Blackwood. His voice turns deadly. I want this child removed from the room. Now. Rashid, she's just. Now. Rashid slams his hand on the table. I will not conduct business with unauthorized observers present. Especially not. He glances at Sophia with pure venom. Whatever she is, the moment of truth. $500 million hangs in the balance. 200 families' dreams rest on the next decision. Blackwood looks at Sophia, this brave girl who's risked everything. Then he looks at Rashid, this man who called her worthless trash. Sophia, Blackwood says clearly, would you please tell Sheikh Rashid, in Arabic, exactly what you heard him say about the 30-day control clause? The room goes absolutely silent. Time seems to stop. Rashid's face drains of color. His advisors freeze mid-breath. Even Rosa gasps from the doorway. Sophia stands up slowly. She's small, barely 5 feet tall in her worn sneakers. But in this moment, she seems to fill the entire room. She looks directly at Sheikh Rashid Al-Mansour, and when she speaks, her Arabic is flawless.
سمعتك تقول أن النص الحقيقي يمنحك السيطرة الكاملة خلال 30 يوما وليس 60. وقلت إن الأمريكيين أغبياء جدا لفهم الفرق بين التقويم الميلادي والهجري.
I heard you say that the real text gives you complete control within 30 days, not 60. And you said Americans are too stupid to understand the difference between Gregorian and Hijri calendars. Rashid staggers backward like he's been shot. Sophia continues, her voice growing stronger, switching to English so everyone understands. You said the contracts exploit timeline differences between calendar systems. You said by the time Mr. Blackwood discovers the theft, the $500 million will be frozen in Dubai under DIFC regulations, where it will take 3 years to recover, if it can be recovered at all. She walks toward the conference table, her small feet making no sound on the expensive carpet. You called me a filthy pest and a disgusting roach. You called my mother stupid. You said Americans are ignorant. You laughed about how easy it is to steal from people who don't speak your language. Rashid's mouth opens and closes, but no words come out. But here's what you didn't know, Sheikh Rashid. Sophia's voice is calm, mature beyond her 13 years. While you were busy thinking I was worthless, I was busy learning 6 languages. While you were stepping on my mother's hard work, I was studying Islamic banking law. While you were calling us roaches, I was becoming the person who would stop you. She pulls out her phone. And I recorded everything. The room erupts. Executives gasp. Rashid's team moves toward the door, but Blackwood's security, quietly summoned during the recess, blocks their exit. Sophia taps her phone. Rashid's voice fills the conference room, speaking in Arabic with English subtitles appearing on the large monitor as Sophia's translation app displays them. How stupid these Americans are. In less than an hour, everything will be ours. Do they understand we're switching the calendar from Gregorian to Hijri? No, they're too stupid to notice. This contains the freezing clause that will lock their funds. The executives who mocked Sophia an hour ago now stare at her in absolute shock. Furthermore, Sophia continues, pulling up documents on her phone, I've spent 3 months researching your past deals, Sheikh Rashid. In 2022, you used the exact same scheme to steal $200 million from a British housing fund. In 2023, you took $150 million from a Canadian development project. In 2024, you stole $180 million from an Australian infrastructure fund. She displays news articles, legal filings, court documents, all in their original languages with her translations. I found the patterns. I contacted the victims. I documented everything. Sophia's voice is steady, powerful. And I sent all of it to the FBI's Financial Crimes Division, the SEC, and Interpol's Economic Crimes Unit 3 hours ago. Rashid collapses into a chair, his empire crumbling in real time. You made one mistake, Sheikh Rashid. Sophia stands at the head of the conference table now, in the exact spot where he stood when he called her garbage. You thought that because I was young, poor, and brown, I didn't matter. You thought my mother cleaning your office meant we were beneath you. You thought speaking a foreign language made you smarter than everyone else. She pauses, letting the weight of her words sink in. But intelligence isn't about wealth or age or what language you were born speaking. It's about paying attention. It's about working hard when nobody's watching. It's about using your gifts to protect people who can't protect themselves. Blackwood stands beside her. Sheikh Rashid Al Mansour, I'm canceling this deal effective immediately. Furthermore, I'm filing formal complaints with every international financial regulatory body. And I'm personally ensuring that every investor you've ever defrauded knows exactly what you did. Wait! Rashid's hands shake. Please, I have family, children. If this goes public, I lose everything. Sophia's expression softens. Just for a moment, her 13-year-old compassion breaking through. I hope your children never hear adults call them roaches because of where they're from. I hope they never have to prove they're smart enough to exist in the same room as you. The gentleness makes her next words even more devastating. But you tried to steal money meant to house 200 families. Kids who sleep 3 to a room. Single mothers working 2 jobs. Elderly people living in buildings with broken heat. You were going to take their dreams and convert them into your 4th yacht. Sophia's voice hardens. So no, Sheikh Rashid. I can't help you now. The silence in the conference room is absolute. Even the air conditioning seems to hold its breath. Sophia walks directly to Rashid, this small girl in a faded uniform facing down a man who's stolen hundreds of millions across continents. Do you remember what you said when you kicked my mother's supplies across your office? Her voice is quiet but carries like thunder. You said, remove this filthy pest from my office. Rashid can't meet her eyes. You grabbed my mother's wrist so hard you left bruises. See? She holds up Rose's arm, showing the fading marks. My mother is 42 years old. She's cleaned buildings for 17 years. Her hands are scarred from chemicals. Her back is permanently damaged from bending over toilets that people like you use and never think about. Rosa wipes tears from her eyes, standing straighter than she has in years. Every night, my mother comes home exhausted, too tired to eat sometimes. But she still helps me with homework. She still asks about my day. She still makes sure I know I'm loved and valued and worthy. Sophia's voice breaks slightly. And you called her stupid. You called us roaches. You thought we were nothing. I'm sorry, Rashid whispers. But the words sound hollow. You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught. Sophia's maturity is devastating. You've done this for years. Stolen from hundreds of families. Destroyed countless dreams. And you did it all while looking down on people who work harder in one day than you've worked in your entire life. She turns to address the entire room. Here's what I learned today. Power doesn't come from money. Intelligence doesn't come from fancy schools. Worth doesn't come from designer clothes or expensive watches. Her eyes sweep across the executives who dismissed her. Power comes from courage. Intelligence comes from curiosity. Worth comes from character. And today, in this room, the most powerful person wasn't the one with the most money. It was the one willing to speak truth when everyone else wanted silence. Patricia Harrington stands, tears streaming down her face. Sophia, I don't know how to apologize for what I said. You showed more intelligence, more courage, more moral clarity than I've shown in my entire career. Marcus Steele nods, his Harvard arrogance completely shattered. I called you a child making up stories, but you were the only adult in this room. Catherine Chun approaches Sophia hesitantly. Could I shake your hand? I've never met anyone quite like you. As Sophia shakes hands with the same executives who mocked her an hour ago, Rashid makes one final attempt. Please, he begs Blackwood. My reputation, my business, my family's legacy. Sophia turns to him one last time. Sheikh Rashid, somewhere right now there's a little girl cleaning an office. Maybe she's in Dubai or London or Beijing. Maybe she speaks languages you don't know. Maybe she understands more than you think. She pauses at the door. I hope the next time you see her, you remember this moment. I hope you remember that the roach you tried to step on was actually the person who ended your criminal empire. And I hope you remember her name, Sophia Martinez, the maid's daughter who was smarter than you ever were. The conference room transforms from battlefield to celebration in moments. Blackwood's phone erupts with notifications, news outlets already picking up the story. 13-year-old genius exposes $500 million fraud. Maid's daughter saves housing fund. Child prodigy outsmarts international criminal. FBI agents arrive within 20 minutes, led by Special Agent Jennifer Morrison. She approaches Sophia with a mixture of awe and respect. Ms. Martinez, I'm going to need you to walk me through everything you heard, everything you recorded, and everything you researched. Morrison kneels to Sophia's eye level. What you did today, the evidence you gathered, this is going to put away one of the most prolific financial criminals in modern history. Will the housing fund be safe? Sophia asks. Will the 200 families still get their homes? Morrison smiles. Because of you? Absolutely. In fact, with the penalty seizures from Rashid's assets, we might be able to build even more units. As federal agents escort Rashid and his team out in handcuffs, the sheik passes Sophia one final time. He's no longer the confident man who called her garbage. He's broken, defeated, destroyed by a 13-year-old he underestimated. How? He whispers to her. How does a child? I'm not a child, Sheikh Rashid. I'm a human being, just like you. Except I use my intelligence to help people, not hurt them. Once the federal agents leave, Blackwood gathers his executive team. Effective immediately, Sophia Martinez is appointed Chief Youth Linguistic Consultant for Titanium Capital. She'll have her own office, full educational support, and compensation reflecting the value she's provided, which, conservatively, is about $500 million. Mr. Blackwood, Rosa steps forward, her voice shaking. We can't accept this. It's too much. You're just what, Mrs. Martinez? Blackwood's voice is gentle but firm. Just the woman who raised the most remarkable young person I've ever met? Just the family who saved my company and 200 others from devastating fraud. He pulls out official documents. Your daughter didn't just save our investment. She exposed international crime that will help recover money for victims across 4 continents. The British Fund, the Canadian Project, the Australian Infrastructure Program, they're all reopening their cases with her evidence. Patricia Harrington approaches Sophia, her earlier cruelty transformed to genuine remorse. Sophia, would you be willing to teach executive workshops on international finance law? I realize now that our expertise was actually dangerous ignorance. We need what you have. Of course, Ms. Harrington. Sophia's response is free of malice. Learning is fun. Even grown-ups can do it if they're willing to admit they don't know everything. The innocent sincerity of the response, no bitterness despite the earlier cruelty, brings fresh tears to Harrington's eyes. Marcus Steele clears his throat. Sophia, I have a daughter at Yale. She's studying international law. Would you be willing to talk to her? Share how you learned all this? I think she could learn more from one conversation with you than 4 years of lectures. I'd love to, Mr. Steele. Does she speak any other languages? Just English and some high school Spanish. Then maybe we can learn together. I'm still working on Portuguese and Farsi. Language partners make everything easier. As the executives file out, each stopping to apologize or thank her, Sophia sits in Blackwood's chair behind the massive mahogany table. Her small frame is dwarfed by the executive furniture, but her presence commands the entire room. The worthless roach has become the most powerful person in the building. And she's only 13 years old. The brass nameplate on the office door reads, Sofia Martinez, Chief Linguistic Consultant and Director of Community Education. Inside, 14-year-old Sofia sits at a custom desk, sized perfectly for her, reviewing documents in 7 different languages, while her high school homework lies open nearby. Advanced physics that would challenge most college students. Her office walls display certificates from the FBI, congressional recognition, and acceptance letters from Harvard, MIT, and Stanford, all offering full scholarship starting whenever she's ready. But the spot of honor goes to a framed photograph. Sofia teaching Arabic to a group of refugee children at the community center, all of them laughing at something she's written on the whiteboard. A soft knock interrupts her work. Blackwood enters with a young girl who has his eyes and his gentle smile. Sofia, I'd like you to meet my daughter, Maya. Maya, 12 years old with neat braids and uncertain eyes, clutches a book and stares at Sofia with a mixture of awe and nervousness. Dad says you speak like a million languages. Only 7 fluently. Sofia grins, closing her textbook. But I'm working on Swahili and Portuguese. Want to hear something cool in Arabic? Really?
أحب القراءة مثلك.
Sofia points to Maya's book. That means, I love reading, just like you. My friend Layla taught me all the book words when she moved here from Jordan. Maya's face lights up. Even though reading is hard for me, because of my dyslexia, especially because reading is hard for you. Sofia's voice is warm. Maya, the kids who work hardest at something are always the ones who understand it best. The recipients include a homeless honor student who studies by library light, a teenage father pursuing his GED while working full-time, a young woman whose hearing impairment masked her gift for mathematics, and a boy whose autism makes traditional school impossible, but who taught himself coding at genius level. But before we celebrate, Blackwood continues, I want you to hear from someone special. Sofia enters the room. No longer the invisible child with cleaning supplies. She wears a simple dress and carries herself with quiet confidence that commands immediate respect. A year ago, a very powerful man looked at me and saw nothing but a filthy roach. She begins. He thought I was too young, too poor, too brown to matter. He was wrong. She pauses, looking at each scholarship recipient. But here's what I learned. He wasn't wrong because I'm special. He was wrong because every person in this room is special. Every person has gifts the world desperately needs, even if the world doesn't know it yet. A teenage mother wipes tears from her eyes. Her baby sleeps in a carrier against her chest. The hardest part isn't proving you're smart enough or good enough. Sofia continues. The hardest part is believing it yourself when everyone around you says you're not. Her voice grows stronger, filling the space. I'm here to tell you, you are enough. You are worthy. You are brilliant. And someday, maybe someday soon, you'll get the chance to prove it. She walks to the spot where Rashid once stood, where he once called her worthless. But this isn't just about the people receiving scholarships today. This is about all of us learning to see differently. Sofia's eyes sweep the room. Look around your schools, your workplaces, your communities. Who are you not seeing? Whose voice are you not hearing? Whose potential are you missing because they don't look like what you expect genius to look like? The room is completely silent, hanging on every word. The next time you see someone cleaning an office, ask yourself, what languages do they speak? The next time you pass a child sitting quietly in a corner, ask yourself, what are they thinking about? The next time someone seems different from you, ask yourself, what can they teach me? Sofia pauses at the head of the conference table. Because here's the truth that took me 14 years to learn. Talent doesn't wear expensive suits. Intelligence doesn't need diplomas. Wisdom doesn't require age. And worth has absolutely nothing to do with how much money your parents make. She looks directly into the camera recording this moment for the Foundation's website. So I'm asking you, yes, you watching this, what will you do differently tomorrow? Will you notice someone you've been overlooking? Will you listen to someone you've been dismissing? Will you see potential where others see problems? Sofia smiles, the same quiet smile she had when Rashid first underestimated her. Because somewhere out there is another kid like me, sitting quietly in a corner, understanding more than anyone realizes. They're learning languages from YouTube, They're teaching themselves quantum physics. They're helping their communities while the world calls them invisible. She pauses one final time. Don't make them wait too long to be seen. The screen fades to text. The Sofia Martinez Foundation has helped recover over $800 million in fraudulent funds and provided scholarships to 200 students from underrepresented communities. Sofia, now 14, speaks 9 languages and continues her work exposing international financial fraud while completing high school. Share your story of hidden potential in the comments. Like this video if you believe talent exists everywhere. Subscribe to Black Soul Stories for more stories of people who changed the world by being exactly who they were meant to be. And remember, you never know who might be listening.